I think you've got a piece on birth rates.
Yeah, a minute ago, David talked about the Christian influence in government being basically blocked. Well, this is interesting to expand on that perspective. Birth rates have dropped around the world, according to ZMEScience.com here, 12 October, in the past 2 centuries. This started in France earlier than in other places, and researchers now know why. And we can move on from there to kind of give the short version of this. This was written by Guillaume Blanc. He's a assistant economics professor right there at the University of Manchester, and that's who wrote this article. We'll move on from there. Blanc believes, the article is about him. Someone else penned the article, but Blanc is the main source. I stand corrected. Blanc believes it has a lot to do with religion, the population phenomenon. In his research, he used crowdsourced genealogies to comprehensively document the decline in fertility and identify its origins for the first time. Quote, according to Blanc, in aggregate level evidence, relying on the work of historians, I document an important process of secularization that took hold at the same time in France. With de-Christianization in the mid-18th century, the Catholic Church lost influence and could not oppose fertility control, coitus interruptus, interesting, anymore, the researcher adds. And we'll move on from there. This is another angle on it. Gretchen Whitmer, the current governor of Michigan, probably the most laughable, comical governor, and in a way dangerous governor this state has ever had the misfortune to have. Meanwhile, she's launching a nationwide talent recruitment effort to address stagnant population growth. You see, the globalist elitists, gentlemen, they have to redistribute people, just like they redistribute money, right? If you don't have enough people, well, bring them in from other countries, legally or illegally, always shuffling people around the world, never having stable nation states. Michigan is launching a $20 million nationwide marketing initiative aimed at boosting the state's decades-long sluggish population growth by attracting and retaining young talent from other parts of the U.S. and abroad. The campaign, which was unveiled by Gretchen Whitmer, our lovely governor, will include television, radio, and online advertisements in 11 states. It'll be the largest state-led talent attraction effort in the U.S., according to the state's Economic Development Board. But I note at the bottom here, and I confirmed these statistics, in Michigan, there have been 2,560 more abortions in just the first half of this year compared to all of last year. And last year, there were 30,120 abortions in Michigan. And elites, as I say, seek to redistribute people as opposed to the answer to this, at least a part of it, and that is the archaic concept of childbirth. The birth rates we know have been dangerously low in Japan, dangerously low in Italy, entire villages basically closing down in Italy and other parts of the world. And so we see the elite schematic here at work, redistributing people and enforcing an abortion regime, which included last year Proposition 3 being propagandized against the voters. It managed to get approved in Michigan, and that makes the so-called right to abortion, which has never really existed as an actual right, it enshrined it in the state of Michigan's constitution. So Gretchen Whitmer is continuing the, you might say, de-Christianization in her part that Mr. Blanc found to be a major source of population decline in Europe. So it's just an interesting perspective on the effects of abortion. The SNP kicked out the legislator a little while ago about this very issue, and the re-Christianization of these countries would presumably have the opposite effect and bring back a robust growth in population that would not involve simply redistributing people. So it's very instructive to look at this.
Okay, well, I'm sure we can talk about that a bit more in extra as well. David, let's end then